Pakistan is in complete meltdown mode since last night over claims made by an opposition leader in Pakistan's parliament that Pakistan was quaking in its boots about a possible Indian attack on their soil if they didn't return Wing Commander Abhinandan Vartaman, the pilot who they captured after attempting to bomb Indian territory. Well, the revelation was made by Ayaz Sadiq, a member of the Pakistan National Assembly. God of Savan tells you about a video that's gone completely viral across the world and put Pakistan in a very embarrassing spot.
America na उच्च एक व्यक्ति है एक निवेदन करियो के मोदी बीजा दिवस है एक साथ 12 मिसाइलों आ सारू थी कि पाकिस्ताने पायलट ने पाछो मोकलवानी जाहिरात कर दी थी नहीं तो रात कत्लनी रात थी.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi warning of a night of massacre in Pakistan if it had failed to release Wing Commander Abhinandan. Prime Minister Modi's April 2019 words over a month after Pakistan released the Indian pilot now stand vindicated.
पैर कांप रहे थे, पसीने माथे पे थे और हमसे शाह महमूद साहब ने कहा, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर साहब ने कि खुदा का वास्ता है अब इसको वापस जाने दें क्योंकि 9 बजे रात को हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान पे अटैक कर रहे हैं.
A stunning revelation on the circumstances around Wing Commander Abhinandan was made on the floor of Pakistan's National Assembly by Ayaz Sadiq, a member of Pakistan Parliament and its former Speaker.
जिसमें प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने आने से इनकार कर दिया और चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ तशरीफ लाए. पैर कांप रहे थे, पसीने माथे पे थे और हमसे शाह महमूद साहब ने कहा, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर साहब ने कि खुदा का वास्ता है अब इसको वापस जाने दें क्योंकि 9 बजे रात को हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान पे अटैक कर रहे हैं.
Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan did not even attend the meeting in Pakistan's National Assembly to discuss India's ultimatum to release Wing Commander Abhinandan. It was General Qamar Javed Bajwa who asked all members of Parliament to facilitate the release of Wing Commander Abhinandan.
Army Chief ने जनरल कमर बाजवा साहब ने वहाँ पे ये ब्रीफिंग दी और अभिनंदन के रिलीज करने के ज़रूरत पे जोर दिया और इस बात का इम्प्रेशन दिया गया कि इसके की अपीजमेंट का कोई ना कोई जो है मस्बत असरात जो है भारत की तरफ से आएंगे.
A day after the Balakot bombing in February 2019, Wing Commander Abhinandan was shot down as he fired and destroyed a Pakistani Air Force F-16 in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. It now emerges India was willing to go up the escalation ladder, including fire missiles at Pakistan terror camps, and Imran Khan was forced to release Wing Commander Abhinandan because Pakistan feared the Indian escalation.
From the statements of Pakistani leaders Ayaz Sadiq and Khwaja Asif, it's clear that Imran Khan and General Qamar Javed Bajwa did not release Wing Commander Abhinandan Vartaman out of the goodness of their heart. It was fear, raw fear, that India would attack Pakistan. Top sources in the government had already told India today that India was ready to escalate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's directive to the armed forces was clear. We had to bring back Wing Commander Abhinandan at any cost, and India was always on top of the escalation ladder. India also exposed Pakistan's nuclear bogey once again. With cameraman Kripal Singh in Delhi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
But what Pakistan's opposition is saying is what India has already known. The Indian Air Force had made it clear that it will attack without mercy if Wing Commander Abhinandan is not returned very, very quickly. This was not said in words, but in actions, in posture. Take a look at this report.
पसीने माथे पे थे और हमसे शाह महमूद साहब ने कहा, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर साहब ने कि खुदा का वास्ता है अब इसको वापस जाने दें क्योंकि 9 बजे रात को हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान पे अटैक कर रहा है.
A dramatic meltdown that has Pakistan mortified in front of the world.
शाह महमूद साहब ने कहा, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर साहब ने कि खुदा का वास्ता है अब इसको वापस जाने दें, चूंकि 9 बजे रात को हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान पे अटैक कर रहा है.
An incensed Pakistani opposition leader launching a stinging attack on the Imran Khan government and in the process hitting the rawest nerve currently in existence in that country. The eruption, which would border on treason in Pakistan, is part of the massive political upheaval in the country. And whether or not you choose to trust the details spewed by this Pakistani opposition leader, listen to the Indian Air Force chief at the time and what he thinks of this Pakistani meltdown.
अभिनंदन इजेक्ट कर गया, हमें पता चल गया कि वो ये सेफली इजेक्टेड. तो उस टाइम मैंने उनको बोला था कि हम आहूजा को वापस नहीं ला पाए, पर अभिनंदन को लेके आएंगे. द वे ही सेइंग दैट पैर कांप रहे थे और समथिंग लाइक दैट, इट इज बिकॉज यू सी द मिलिट्री पोस्चर वाज वेरी ऑफेंसिव, नॉट ओनली ऑफ द एयरफोर्स, आर्मी, नेवी, एयरफोर्स, ऑल थ्री सर्विसेज. And God forbid if their misadventure on 27th they had hit some of our military installations, we were in a position to wipe out their forward brigade.
Let's just play those out for you once again so you can see both sides.
मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने आने से इनकार कर दिया और चीफ ऑफ आर्मी स्टाफ तशरीफ लाए. पैर कांप रहे थे, पसीने माथे पे थे और हमसे शाह महमूद साहब ने कहा, फॉरेन मिनिस्टर साहब ने, कि खुदा का वास्ता है अब इसको वापस जाने दें, चूंकि 9 बजे रात को हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान पे अटैक कर रहा है.
The way he is saying that पैर कांप रहे थे और something like that, it is because you see the military posture was very offensive, not only of the Air Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, all three services. And God forbid if their misadventure on 27th they had hit some of our military installations, we were in a position to wipe out their forward brigades.
The facts as we know them are simple, and the Pakistani politician has only added a layer to common knowledge. Undisputed fact number 1. Wing Commander Abhinandan Varthaman was returned to India just days after he was shot down over POK, even though India had just bombed Pakistani targets. Pakistan tried to spin the gesture as big-heartedness, but that was known to be untrue then, and the Pakistan opposition, even if obliquely, proves that now. Undisputed fact number 2. The Indian Air Force was on operational alert after having defended Indian airspace on the morning after the Balakot airstrikes. Pakistani jets didn't manage to bomb a single Indian target and were thwarted from entering Indian airspace. In the aftermath, Indian jets and missile positions were on war alert, ready to strike and wipe out Pakistani positions at very short notice. Air bases at Srinagar, Adampur in Punjab and Bikaner in Rajasthan, for instance, were on scramble readiness to bomb Pakistan Army positions near the international border and across the line of control in a devastating coordinated strike if necessary. The key for Pakistan to avoid a bombardment, therefore, was to quickly appease India by returning the captured Indian pilot. Undisputed fact number 3. The return of Abhinandan rapidly diffused the situation and was in every sense Pakistan bowing to pressure to avoid a hostile escalation from India's side. As Pakistan navigates the fallout of an embarrassing and withering political revelation, the edifice of local lies surrounding the circumstances under which Pakistan returned Abhinandan has definitely crumbled in a big way. Bureau Report, India Today.
And now joining us live and exclusive, Air Marshal Anil Khosla, who was Vice Chief of the Indian Air Force during the Balakot airstrike and during the aftermath, including Abhinandan's mission and then his return to India. Air Marshal, thank you very much for joining me here on India Today and on 5 Live at a time when you have no doubt been tracking what's been going on in Pakistan, the claims that have been made by an opposition leader there, which is what my first question to you is, Air Marshal. Your views on the claims made in Pakistan Parliament by their opposition leader, Ayaz Sadiq, where he says that it was the threat of an Indian attack that forced Pakistan to send Abhinandan back.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity of sharing my views. I'll make 2 points on this issue which you have flagged regarding the utterances of the opposition member on the floor of the Parliament of the fear psychosis and the fear prevailing in the military hierarchy as well as the political hierarchy. Firstly, release of Abhinandan was the top priority as far as we were concerned at that point of time after the Balakot incident of 26 and 27. Various factors, if you take into account for the release, could be a combination of these factors or these factors, that is political effort, diplomatic effort, world opinion, legitimacy, media. There are a whole lot of factors.
Yeah.
But in my personal opinion, the most important factor which helped in this thing was the deterrence value of the military.
Yeah.
Army, Navy, Air Force. And when I say deterrence value, I don't only talk about the capability of forces, but I also could talk about the willingness of the hierarchy to utilize this capability, and which was displayed in Balakot. So there were no doubts that the capability existed, and we were ready if required, and we were fully prepared. And the willingness had already been demonstrated. So I think this was the biggest factor. And it was very evident that the adversary was not in a position or not in a frame of mind to escalate the event any further.
Air Marshal Khosla, was India postured to conduct attacks on Pakistan in the event of the non-return of Abhinandan?
Okay, I'll be very candid on this. When the incident took place on Balakot on 26th, and once the weapons were released at 3:30 in the morning, after that we were ready for any eventuality. We were fully geared up, and all the defense forces as well as all the agencies, all country was ready, because for subsequent escalation depended on subsequent actions by the adversary and how the things panned out. So we were fully ready and prepared. The second thing is about Abhinandan's return. So as I said, that was our top priority, and we were ready to use any means to get him back as soon as possible, and that is what the priority was. So if required, we could have resorted to any particular action. I will not go into details of what could have been done and how it could have been done, because that will not be appropriate.
Yes.
But if required, we could have gone up the escalation ladder to get our target.
Okay, so you're confirming that that was one of the options. Air Chief Dhanwa, who was the Air Chief at that time, sir, has also spoken today about India's readiness, like you just have. But he has also spoken about how there was a readiness to possibly even wipe out Pakistan Army brigades at the front. What sort of planning went into this? You're saying that there was a possibility that we could have gone up the escalation ladder as well. Could you tell us a little bit about the planning and the readiness that went into this, sir?
Yeah, I'll not like to go into details of the plans. I'll just cover one thing.
Yes.
That is, there are two types of planning which goes on. One is called pre-planned planning, and the second is the dynamic in-war planning, which comes into force once the war breaks out. That is, depending on the situation as it is panning out, we keep changing this thing. But there is a pre-planned plans are already made ready. They are reviewed from time to time, and at times in the exercises they are tried out also, and they are refined from time to time. And so these plans already exist, and these are the plans which are also provide options to the higher-ups to, giving various options. Okay, this can be done. And depending on the situation, what sort of action needs to be taken is chosen, and then it's carried out. So these plans are already existing and they're reviewed periodically. That's what I like to share with you. The second aspect related to it is regarding the targeting. Like you're saying that the chief pointed out about certain targets.
Yes.
The targeting in this particular incident, like when the 27th they tried and attacked our military targets, see the difference between our targeting and their targeting.
Yes.
Our targeting had a very high level of legitimacy. Okay, we hit a terrorist camp, indicating that our war is against the terrorists, our war is against the terrorists, our war is against the perpetrators of terrorism, our war is against the people who have policy of using terror as a tool.
Yes.
Not against the people of Pakistan. We had a full legitimacy. Whereas in their side, what target would they choose? We don't have any terrorists. We don't resort to that. So what did they do? They tried and hit our military targets. So that is the second aspect of it. And they missed all the targets. That's a different story altogether.
Absolutely.
So this is what my take is on the issue of our readiness and military action or if required.
Marshal Khosla, you were the vice chief at that time when all this was happening, so you have a very interesting perspective and we value your words and we understand that some parts of it, obviously cannot be discussed on a public platform because these are matters of a military nature, so I will not ask you anything about that. What I would like to know, Marshal, is the return of Abhinandan. We all saw it as journalists, as citizens, we saw that it was a highly hostile developing situation, and then when Abhinandan was returned to India, the situation was immediately diffused. Was there an understanding of some kind, sir, that if he is returned, then there will be no more fighting?
I'm not aware of any such understanding. But what I would like to say is, I think it's quite obvious that if a pilot is gone across and if it is harmed in any way or not returned, obviously we will do everything in our part to get him back as soon as possible. And that means that going up the escalation ladder. And as I said, the adversary at that stage was not in a frame of mind and not willing to escalate. There are a whole lot of other indicators also. Subsequently, small things happened where they were denying it completely and the utterances are quite soft. So they were not ready to go into escalation as far as they are concerned. Okay. As far as Abhinandan's return is concerned, I think the social media, him coming on the social media immediately was a bit of a relief, because moment he was shown on the social media and we realized that he's hale and hearty, now we knew that he's with them and they couldn't have done much with him, as well as the world opinion would have gone against them. So that was a bit of a relief as far as social media role is concerned in this whole affair.
Final question to you, Marshal. Was this entire incident proof in some ways that Pakistan, which has tried to spin this entire thing as a gesture of large-heartedness, was Pakistan actually fully aware, in one sense, of the consequences of trying to play any games with Abhinandan, trying to delay it any further? This appears to, what has happened in Pakistan with the politicians' meltdown in the assembly, what the air chief has now said, and what even you have said now about the possibility of going up the escalation ladder, somehow suggests that Pakistan was aware that they can't play games as far as Abhinandan is concerned.
Absolutely. I'm in fully agreement. They were fully aware. That is how this statement has come out now. Because of this awareness, only the statements have come out. And they were fully aware of the whole repercussion of action if it was not taken the way it has panned out. And as I said earlier, that these factors which I covered one by one, the social media, legitimacy, that proves, all that goes to prove that they were fully aware of it. Now, only aspect I want to highlight here is that, you cannot, in spite of being aware, the games, like you said, the games they play, are very, very childish games, especially their ISPR, the utterances which they made, and were very, very childish. On the first day itself, 3 parachutes and 2 parachutes and 1 parachute, denying that F-16 is not shot down, and all those things, were very, very childish, I would say. And their own F-16 2 parachutes were seen, and I think one pilot was attacked by their mob itself. And although it has not come out strength 5, but it is very evident from various social media videos and other which are out. So what I'm trying to say is that being aware, still they resort to those childish sort of, games, which is not proves, which doesn't speak very high of the professionalism or the attitude of the country or the military as such.
Marshal Khosla, very much appreciate you giving us your time here and joining us here on 5 Live and taking these questions. We value your words as someone who was the vice chief at that time, in the war room, conducting these missions. No one better than you to speak on this particular issue. So we very much value your words. Thank you very much, Marshal Khosla. I want to play out for you, the viewer now, what Air Chief Marshal B.S. Dhanwar, who was the air chief at that time, has said today in reaction to what's happening.
There are 2 parts to it. The main pressure on Pakistan was diplomatic and political, but there is also a military posture. The way he's saying that pair kaap rahe the or something like that, it is because, you see, the military posture was very offensive, not only of the Air Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, all 3 services. And God forbid if their misadventure on 27th they had hit some of our military installations, we were in a position to wipe out their forward brigades. Abhinandan eject कर गया, हमें पता चल गया कि वो ये safely ejected. तो उस टाइम मैंने उनको बोला था कि हम आहूजा को वापस नहीं ला पाए, पर अभिनंदन को लेके आएंगे.
And we've got some big breaking news coming in once again from Pakistan. This is a huge admission of the Pulwama terror attack. Pakistan Minister Fawad Chaudhry says Imran Khan must get credit for Pulwama. The Pulwama terror attack on the CRPF convoy in February 2019. Fawad Chaudhry says, "We defeated India in Pulwama." The Pakistan minister calls Pulwama an achievement. Can you believe it? An achievement for Imran Khan. Pulwama was an achievement for Imran Khan, says Minister Fawad Chaudhry. Incredible, incredible things being said in Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen.
आप असेंबली के फ्लोर के ऊपर आप बातें कर रहे हैं और फिर झूठ इतने एतमाद से बोल रहे हैं कि झूठा शख्स भी क्या बात करेगा. जिस एतमाद से उन्होंने आके ये बातें की यहां पर कि स्पीकर जनाब शाह महमूद कुरैशी साहब की टांगें कांप रही थी, कह रहे थे हिंदुस्तान हमला कर रहा है. हमने हिंदुस्तान को घुस के मारा है जनाब स्पीकर वहां पे. और पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, पुलवामा में जो हमारी कामयाबी है, वो इमरान खान की क़यादत में इस कौम की कामयाबी है. उसके हिस्सेदार आप भी सब हैं, उसके हिस्सेदार हम भी सब हैं.
Gaurav Sawant and Abhishek Bhalla both with me. Gaurav, to you first. You know, it's a season of major claims coming out from Pakistan's National Assembly. Yesterday was Ayaz Sadiq. Today it's Fawad Chaudhry, who's a minister in the Imran cabinet, saying Imran Khan should take credit for Pulwama.
Shiv, this is unbelievable. A minister, Science and Technology Minister of Pakistan, Fawad Chaudhry, takes credit for Pulwama terror attack. It's a terror attack on the Jammu-Srinagar highway where we lost 40 braves of the Central Reserve Police Force. A terror attack that was masterminded by Jaish-e-Mohammed, and there is evidence of Jaish-e-Mohammed's involvement. Evidence that has been produced in a court of law, which has led to India formally asking Pakistan to take action against that Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar, his brother Rauf Asghar, and several others in the chain of Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist organization. There are phone calls that have been traced back to Bahawalpur. There are maps and pictures that have been sent back to Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters, how the bombs were put together by a Pakistani terrorist. All of this is documented. There is electronic evidence of money transfer. And this now, Fawad Hussain Chaudhry says, is an achievement for Imran Khan. He's known as Taliban Khan. He's a supporter of Taliban. But this is proof of Pakistan's state complicity in terror, Shiv.
Incredible, incredible developments from Pakistan. You know, Abhishek, yesterday Pakistan was in meltdown mode over what opposition leader Ayaz Sadiq had said. Today they've got nowhere to run and hide. You know, yesterday they could have said opposition ka aadmi hai, he wants to embarrass the government. This is Fawad Chaudhry, who's a man in Imran's own cabinet, saying that Imran Khan should take credit for Pulwama.
Shiv, the political bickering in Pakistan has really exposed their terror factories. And what a minister has said today is nothing but a confession of how Pakistan has been sponsoring terror. The Pulwama charge sheet has been filed in an Indian court of law, and there are details of how Jaish-e-Mohammed conspired. Maulana Masood Azhar is a named accused. His brother Rauf Asghar, his cousin, and also a bodyguard of his have been named, and there is evidence produced. So every time Pakistan says, you know, and takes this moral high ground that they will take action against these people if India gives credible evidence. Well, there is credible evidence in Indian courts. What about this confession? This confession would be admissible in any court of law. This is a federal minister speaking in a place which is supposedly democratic. And it's the biggest admission one could make of how Pulwama was plotted by Pakistan.
You know, Fawad Chaudhry is, you know, a politician who's known to be quite outspoken. He makes controversial claims, but there's no defending where he sits and what position he's been taken. He is part of Team Imran Khan. And for him to say such a thing, what could possibly be the reason for him to make this claim?
Shiv, if I may, this is absolutely bizarre. Just take a look at his statement. Ghar mein ghus kar mara. He's saying, and that's a fact, that's actually a fact, a Pakistani terrorist infiltrated into India, and according to that NIA charge sheet, the infiltration happened through the Samba route. There's now evidence how that terrorist got from Samba to Jammu to Udhampur to Srinagar, where he stayed in South Kashmir, how he assembled a bomb, how improvised explosive device, where that vehicle came from, how money came. All of this was so far elements of the non-state. But here is the state actor, Science and Technology Minister of Pakistan, Shiv Fawad Hussain Chaudhry, who says, "Humne ghus kar mara," and it's an achievement of Imran Khan. He will have to explain, and perhaps this gives India a perfect case to sue Pakistan for being a state sponsor of terror, Shiv, because here's a minister who's confessing ki ghar mein ghus kar mara India ko, where we lost 40 of our CRPF jawans in that Pulwama terror attack that you and I covered on Ground Zero, Shiv.
I want to just play out that soundbite of a Pakistan Minister Fawad Chaudhry once again for our viewers, and then I'm going to keep Gaurav on with this. We're going to try and get some reactions from Pakistan as well. Arzu Kazmi, a Pakistani journalist, will be joining us on the other side. Stay with me. Listen in to what he said.
Assembly के फ्लोर के ऊपर आप बातें कर रहे हैं और फिर झूठ इतने एतमाद से बोल रहे हैं कि झूठा शख्स भी क्या बात करेगा। जिस एतमाद से उन्होंने आके ये बातें की यहाँ पर कि स्पीकर जनाब शाह महमूद कुरैशी साहब की टांगें कांप रही थी, कह रहे थे हिंदुस्तान हमला कर रहा है। हमने हिंदुस्तान को घुस के मारा है जनाब स्पीकर वहां पे। और पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, पुलवामा में जो हमारी कामयाबी है, वो इमरान खान की क़यादत में इस कौम की कामयाबी है। उसके हिस्सेदार आप भी सब हैं, उसके हिस्सेदार हम भी सब हैं।
You know, Gaurav, what happens next? You know, I am very curious to know what happens next now. You know, you said that this is enough to sue Pakistan. The three of us know. Abhishek, you, me and Gaurav, all three of us were in Mumbai for 26/11. We've covered that terror incident. We know what legal proceedings mean as far as Pakistan is concerned, gentlemen. So I am wondering what more action can be taken, because this is an admission of an act of war. Gaurav.
This truly is, Shiv, because Pulwama was an act of war. Pulwama was a planned terror attack on the Central Reserve Police Force. In fact, this was an attack that was planned for the army, but because of massive snowfall, army convoys were delayed and they targeted a CRPF convoy. It was very well planned by the Pakistani state. There were elements of Pakistan, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and now as Fawad Hussain Chaudhry says, that Imran Khan ki kamyabi hai Pulwama, which means elements of the Pakistani state were involved in this. And Shiv, I was in that Chicago federal courthouse when the 26/11 terror trial of David Coleman Headley was happening, and the FBI had evidence of Pakistan ISI officers being involved in the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. It wouldn't be a surprise if ISI is involved in this terror attack. And Imran Khan was in the know, like Nawaz Sharif was in the know about Kargil. And that is where, Shiv, there is no difference between Pakistani state, non-state, civilian leadership, military leadership. They're all involved in terror attacks and war in India. It's just that that distinction is made. Now Fawad Chaudhry has removed that distinction. Imran Khan considers Pulwama an achievement. Fawad Chaudhry, a minister in his government, says so, and this Shiv very clearly indicate that this is Pakistani state complicity in spreading terror in India.
Absolutely. Gaurav, stay with me. Abhishek continues to be with me as well. Abhishek, I know these are early moments yet. Fawad Chaudhry has just made this comment in the Pakistan National Assembly. Are we expecting any kinds of reactions on this? I expect that this is a question that will come up at the MOD and the External Affairs Ministry.
Well, definitely, Shiv, at some point of time, we will have a response from India, because this kind of a confession is obviously a first. And, you know, if you look at it carefully of what the minister spoke, not only did he congratulate the government, he said, "Hum sab, aap aur hum iske hissedar hain." So he's saying that we've all contributed to the achievement. So he's speaking to people who are democratically elected. These are representatives of the people, and he's associating them with the plotting of a terror attack. Pulwama wasn't a military action. It took place hundreds of kilometers away from the line of control. There were terrorists involved. It's been established by India. Pakistan also somewhere has believed that, because they have said that, these were terrorists from India. But the fact remains that they were trained, and the planning, the logistics, all of that happened in Pakistan. And when this admission has been made by a Pakistani minister, what bigger confession can we ask for? And what else does Pakistan need as evidence other than this?
Take a look at what, Fawad Chaudhry's boss, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, had said about Pulwama. And now he's been completely cornered and exposed by his own minister. This is signature Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to laugh. After all, Pakistan is our neighbor. But just take a look at first what Imran Khan had said and then what Fawad Chaudhry has now said.
पहले तो आपने पाकिस्तान पे इल्जाम लगा दिया, ना कोई एविडेंस, ना कोई सोचा कि इसके अंदर पाकिस्तान का क्या फायदा है। अगर पाकिस्तान इतनी अहम कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहा था और इतनी विजिट जो क्राउन प्रिंस की थी, जो हम इतनी देर से प्लान कर रहे थे, कोई अहमक भी इस तरह का वाकया करेगा अपनी कॉन्फ्रेंस को सैबोटाज करने के लिए? और अगर ये ना भी होती उनकी विजिट, पाकिस्तान को इससे क्या फायदा है? क्यों पाकिस्तान इस स्टेज के ऊपर, जब पाकिस्तान स्टेबिलिटी की तरफ जा रहा है, हमारे पास, हमने 15 साल की दहशतगर्दी की जंग, जिसमें 70,000 पाकिस्तानी मारे गए हैं, एक दहशतगर्दी नीचे जा रही है, अमन आ रहा है, स्टेबिलिटी आ रही है, हम क्यों कोई इस तरह का, इससे हमें फायदा क्या है?
आप असेंबली के फ्लोर के ऊपर आप बातें कर रहे हैं और फिर झूठ इतने एतमाद से बोल रहे हैं कि झूठा शख्स भी क्या बात करेगा। जिस एतमाद से उन्होंने आके ये बातें की यहां पर कि स्पीकर जनाब शाह महमूद कुरैशी साहब की टांगें कांप रही थी, कह रहे थे हिंदुस्तान हमला कर रहा है। हमने हिंदुस्तान को घुस के मारा है जनाब स्पीकर वहां पे। और पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, पुलवामा में जो हमारी कामयाबी है, वो इमरान खान की क़यादत में इस कौम की कामयाबी है। उसके हिस्सेदार आप भी सब हैं, उसके हिस्सेदार हम भी सब हैं।
पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, look at the words, Gaurav, that Fawad Chaudhry uses. He's the Minister of Science and Technology in Pakistan. He's a mass leader of some kind, outspoken in many ways, but look at the specific words that he's used. Ghar mein ghus ke mara, kamyabi, those words cannot be ignored. These are words that are not, off the cuff, Gaurav.
They're actually not, one, they're not off the cuff. Two, they're on the floor of the House. Yeah. It's on the floor of the National Assembly. And that is where every word is recorded and is supposed to be the truth. And he says that this is कौम की कामयाबी। ये कौन सी कौम है जो आतंकवाद फैलाती है? ये कौन सी कौम है? And that's a question that Fawad Hussain Chaudhry and Imran Khan, also known as Taliban Khan, must answer. ये कौन सी कौम है that kills innocent CRPF personnel who are deployed on duty and on their way to duty in Pulwama, in Jammu and Kashmir? That Pakistan says घर में घुसकर मारा, CRPF को मारा, and they consider it as an achievement not just of Imran Khan, not just of an achievement of the Pakistani political class, but an achievement of the entire Pakistani Qaum or the people of Pakistan. It just goes on to show that Pakistan is a terror state, and this is a confession that comes from a minister in the Imran Khan government, Shiv.
Some people think it's in bad taste to call Pakistan terroristan. They say, stop making a mockery out of this. You can't call another sovereign republic terroristan. I want you to think of the word terroristan in the context of what you're looking at right now playing out in the Pakistan Assembly, okay? The fact is the Pulwama terror attack happened on the 14th of February 2019. It was a place in which 40 CRPF, 40 CRPF members and one suicide bomber it has now been admitted, it came directly from Pakistan. trained by Pakistan. Ghar mein ghus ke mara, says Fawad Chaudhry. Kamar Chima from Pakistan, well-known analyst, is with me live. But before I go to Kamar, for his benefit, I want to play out once again what Imran Cabinet Minister Fawad Chaudhry has just said. Let's play it out.
आप असेंबली के फ्लोर के ऊपर आप बातें कर रहे हैं और फिर झूठ इतने एतमाद से बोल रहे हैं कि झूठा शख्स भी क्या बात करेगा। जिस एतमाद से उन्होंने आके ये बातें की यहाँ पर कि स्पीकर जनाब शाह महमूद कुरैशी साहब की टांगें कांप रही थी, कह रहे थे हिंदुस्तान हमला कर रहा है। हमने हिंदुस्तान को घुस के मारा है जनाब स्पीकर वहां पे। और पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, पुलवामा में जो हमारी कामयाबी है, वो इमरान खान की क़यादत में इस कौम की कामयाबी है। उसके हिस्सेदार आप भी सब हैं, उसके हिस्सेदार हम भी सब हैं।
कमर चीमा, हमने हिंदुस्तान में के घर में घुस के मारा। पुलवामा की जो कामयाबी है वो इमरान खान का है, कौम का है। I won't add anything. Please respond to that.
Well, I think what he's referring to is that since after Pulwama, you people attacked, in Balakot, and in response to that, the Pakistani Air Force brought down your 2 planes. So we are calling it as a collective success. This is a success that you people couldn't make it happen. So what he's saying is that you attacked, we responded, and we brought down 2 planes. Abhinandan was here. Abhinandan was here.
पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है कमर, that's not collective success. पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, घर में घुस के मारा. पुलवामा में the only place where anyone gussoed inside India was in Pulwama. It was not after the Balakot airstrike, sir.
Sir, after the Balakot your strikes, we went into India and
nobody came inside India. You guys got shot down over POK, not inside Jammu and Kashmir. Let me just ask you. No, one second.
Definitely, that is
घुस के मारा. पुलवामा में जो कामयाबी है, Fawad Chaudhry is not an idiot. He's using very specific terms. He uses the word Pulwama over and over again. Why would he say Pulwama if he wanted to talk about the post Balakot strikes? What does Pakistan have to do with Pulwama? Tell me.
You did it because you quoted Pulwama. You got a justification out of Pulwama.
What does that have to do with Pulwama? Kamar, you're tying yourself up in knots. What does that have to do with Pulwama? You can call it anything else. You can call it Rajouri. You can call it line of control. You can call it Balakot. Why call it Pulwama?
The point is,
he has taken ownership of Pulwama.
No knowledge of national security. They sometimes mix the dates. So they mix the date, but he's saying collectively.
Oh, come on. Come on.
No.
Incredible that you're saying this. Okay, stay with me, Kamar. Mona Alam is also with me from Pakistan. Okay, she's with me on the phone line from Pakistan. Mona, welcome. Your reactions to what Fawad Chaudhry has just said.
Thank you. I was just overhearing your conversation with our fellow panelists. Where I think for Fawad Chaudhry as to why he has mentioned Pulwama specifically, if this is what the question here is, right? I believe he can be also asked as to why did he mention Pulwama, because I am saying this with utmost surety and certainty that Pakistan, of course, has nothing to do with Pulwama. Whatever happened in Pulwama, it was an indigenous attack. It happened from within.
So why is he saying Pulwama mein jo kamyabi hai?
उनसे पूछ लें. I think you can ask him. I have his number. I can share it with your coordinator.
We have his number, but he doesn't take our calls for some reason. I'm not surprised. But Mona, why do you think he said, in your expert view, why do you think he said Pulwama mein jo kamyabi hui?
I'm not an expert on this though, but I think, and I'm with utmost.
So you are also shocked. You're also shocked, you're saying.
No. If you ask my view, right, I'll be only answering and speaking for myself. We are not spokespersons of Fawad Chaudhry.
No, of course. I'm only asking you because you live in that country and you know these people.
We have nothing to do with Pulwama. Pakistan has nothing to do with Pulwama. It was an indigenous attack. And as to why did Fawad Chaudhry say that, I think in my opinion only, and I only think so, I mean he's the best person to comment on this further, I think it's a slip of tongue. It may just be a slip
He
of
said
tongue.
he used the word he used the word Pulwama 4 times, Mona. Just FYI, he used the word Pulwama 4 times. Surely, a minister in the Imran cabinet knows what Pulwama is.
And this is absolutely wrong. We have never done anything like, ghar mein ghus kar mara. I mean, this is absolutely fictitious.
He says
one of the journalists who was present there after this entire episode had happened in 2019. We were in a meeting with the Prime Minister.
No, forget all that.
And Prime Minister
Mona,
categorically
forget
told
all
us
that.
that
That is irrelevant. That is irrelevant to this conversation. I am simply asking you about Fawad Chaudhry. Why would he say the word Pulwama 4 times in a short comment? How can it be a slip of tongue?
When the Prime Minister is saying categorically that you have violated
the less said
our
about
borders
Imran Khan, the better.
Like
I'm talking about Fawad Chaudhry.
India has violated our borders and sanctity of our borders, so we are accusing India
madam,
of
the
doing
Pakistani government has been completely stripped naked in parliament yesterday by the opposition and now by the minister himself. Yesterday the Pakistan government could have said, ye opposition wala hai, ye pagal hai, ye kuch bhi bolta hai, humko embarrass karne ke liye kuch bhi bol sakte hai opposition wale. But today it's the government's own minister who is saying that Imran Khan is a terrorist.
He said Imran Khan is a terrorist.
What is if he says that Imran Khan deserves credit for Pulwama, what are we to believe then?
No, I just believe he was talking about the Balakot conversation. This is my opinion on this entire matter, and I think he was speaking about
basically, Mona, fair enough. You're denying that you think that he meant Pulwama, which is absolutely incredible. Gaurav, what would you like to say to Kamar and to Mona, who say that he didn't mean what he said, slip of tongue? He was talking about the entire incident. It wasn't about Pulwama. Incredible.
Well, it's their misfortune if they have such people as ministers, but this wasn't a slip of the tongue because, as you very rightly pointed out, Shiv, he said it multiple times. He was speaking on the floor of the House. Unless their ministers come unprepared on the floor of the House, he has a paper. He's reading out that paper where he says, Pulwama mein humne ghar mein ghus kar mara. And Mona Alam does not have facts. And if I may, Muhammad Umar is related to Jaish-e-Mohammad's Maulana of terror, Masood Azhar. The bomb maker came from Pakistan. There is electronic evidence which is now submitted in a court of law. There is money trail that has been traced back to Pakistan. The bomb maker's picture was taken on his own mobile phone he himself took a selfie while making a bomb. All of that is now evidence. So, there is a clear Pakistani role in that terror attack. He sent those bomb pictures to Pakistan. Again, it's been traced back. Electronic evidence. Pakistan is not in Stone Age. So Pakistan also knows there's an electronic trail. The moment a WhatsApp is sent or the moment a picture is sent, all of that is now in a court of law for action against Pakistan. That's point one. Point two, Fawad Hussain is science and technology minister. He's not some madrasa minister in Pakistan, uneducated types. He's very clearly saying that Pulwama mein humne Hindustan mein ghar mein ghus kar mara, and we have lost 40 braves of the CRPF in Pulwama. He's confessing that they were involved in the terror attack, and he's saying it's an achievement of the entire QOM. It's probably Mona Alam's achievement and Kamar Chima's achievement too, if they are a part of the same QOM.
Very rarely does one get honesty from Pakistan, but Fawad Chaudhry, no matter what else he represents, the spasm of honesty is very much appreciated in one way, because the truth always helps in such matters. I'm going to leave it there for the moment on this story. We're going to get more reactions going forward. Gaurav, Kamar, Mona, Abhishek, thank you for joining me here on 5 Live. Big breaking story. Imran, cabinet minister, says that Pakistan is responsible for the Pulwama terror attack. That's a minister, not the opposition.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.